Someone smarter and more handsome than me, neither of which is a high bar but still, once told me computers are magic and no one really knows how they work. I'm pretty sure he was trying to be funny and slightly sarcastic, but nonetheless a truer statement haven't been said in context of video game development since the first recorded mention of Electronic Arts sucking ass. And nothing shows this off better than Monster Hunter Wilds beta, juxtaposing technologically impressive monster mechanics with one of the most confusing optimizations in history of gaming. Let's quickly shit-talk the optimization first, if you don't mind. Because making a functional user interface or not bullshit to navigate menu in a video game is considered a generational dishonor only seppuku can erase in entirety of Japan, you may have not realized that Wilds, even in beta, has a metric trackload of options to get your game running smoothly. There's even a visual representation of how much resources your copy of the game is eating in real time as you tackle your settings, to help you figure out what setting is killing your performance the most. I quickly discovered that for my PC at least, frame generation is Satan and Nvidia DLSS is evil that should be purged, despite me having Nvidia's bloody carding and newest drivers installed. In one word, this game's optimization is some sort of batshit bizarre bonanza, as the bloody thing ran on ultra with no frame gen and no DLSS smoother with recording software on than by itself and on recommended settings. And also the damned bloody settings reset back to default every time you launch the game. I guess everyone at Capcom knows as little about optimization as I do, and I'm illiterate. That wasn't one word, but if anything it only proves the point about illiteracy here. Nonetheless, all you have to know about the topic of optimization is that it makes completely no sense. And neither does the ease at which Capcom engineers pull off technical stunts that can be only described as showing off in the game which suffers from this sort of optimization issues. If you know Balthazar, stupid autocorrect, Balahara, the funny drill creature that defecates from front and is going to make you very aware of it, possesses rather rarely seen in the gaming sphere ability to reshape terrain. It's of course not the only monster with ability to change your surroundings. Raidao, for example, can mold sand into fulgurate, creating rocks you can climb and interact with by striking sand with his lightning. However, spawning something into the game world is generally much easier to implement technology-wise than making holes in the ground, simply because you generally don't have to alter the entire fucking engine to do so. You see, the ground you walk on in most games is just a textured horizontal surface plane you can't move through, not an actual simulation of the soil. Simply put, altering what would otherwise be a simple flat plane, especially altering it in real time beneath the player's feet, is something that begs for problems to arise. Dropping player below the map or getting them stuck in the environment, to name the few. Not to mention, to even attempt to reshape the surface player stands on, you have to build into the game the solutions to the initial problem of how do you reshape said environment, and how to not make it look like shit. Easiest solution I could think of is simply putting a rigid non-destructible surface, a so-called bedrock of the map, below the destructible surface, and simply lowering the upper surface as it gets destroyed, which can be done by the same means physics and collisions are simulated. This is roughly what I think Wilds pulls off, with Valahara's environment interactions, that is. If you ever noticed, the sandy area is elevated in relation to the rest of the map, and what I'm guessing is that the said elevation is the destroyable surface extending above regular one, put in place specifically to suit the needs of Balahara's bullshit sorcery. This would also explain why all of Balahara's special interactions happen on the sandy plains, while in the rest of the map, altering environment is pretty much impossible. Similar reshaping of environment is implemented in multiple titles. Battlefield series made its name off of destructibility of the environment, and games such as Helldivers utilize similar groundbreaking in literal sense technology to add to the experience. In both cases I mentioned, you can only dig to the certain depth, beyond which subsequent explosions won't deepen the hole anymore, and in Wilds, the hole can only exist temporarily, and be only as deep as Balahara makes it. This solution indeed makes more sense considering the power to reshape the earth is solely in the hands of an enemy, as player cannot even see the bedrock under the sand, not to mention, as the hole is being created, player has to watch out not to get sucked into said hole and be battered by a truck-sized danger noodle. Balahara not only traps players mid-fight, but tends to ambush both you and other big monsters, leading to a very impressive kidnapping sequence with Anteater-esque sand trap involved, pulling both you and whatever monsters get trapped into the underground lair of the overgrown drillworm. The sheer dedication to making this unassuming burrowing tapeworm this impressive is commendable, and the groundwork put in is also going to make any burrowing monster better by association, as long as Capcom considers adding a little bit of this same sorcery to their toolkit as well. And this is all from World Monster in a bloody beta, not mentioning the fact that all the monsters also have their own little coding voodoo involved. Yoshaguma throws smaller monsters at you if it gets a chance. Raidao recharges itself of lightning, creates Fulgurite if fought on the desert, and in its lair, it charges the entire bloody area. And Argveld has a fucking command grab. Sure, none of this is an absolute breakthrough in terms of Monster Hunter as a series. Rajang already grabs people and commits non-consensual atrocities to them. I had Grady Jagras thrown at me in the first hour or so of Monster Hunter World, and Diablos made the burrowing bullshit before. That said, just the beta of Wilds alone brings with itself the density and variety of monster and variant interactions we had in almost entirety of previous two games. And those same interactions we saw before are much more deeply iterated upon and more ingrained into the game itself. Especially in Balahara's case, where the whole ordeal is pushed to the point of showing off. Shame they don't use the terrain shaping abilities more often, and double shame that Capcom could make the monsters this well, but couldn't make the fucking secret control like dogs in rice. Capcom, what the Last but not least, a big sign of gratitude towards all my generous patrons supporters, continuously considering my dubious quality content worth their money. You're all truly welcome. Crabface out.